All right, well, staying in Charlottesville for just a little bit, let's hear now from someone who's helped bring the so-called local military-industrial complex to light. David Swanson is the author of the book War is a Lie, and he joins us now from Charlottesville. David, welcome back on the program.
Good to be here.
Always great to have you. So what's your biggest concern about this issue? I mean, these companies are, at the end of the day, helping some Americans stay off the unemployment rolls. I mean, isn't that a good thing given the current economic picture?
Well, I don't think that's true, in that economists tend to agree that you put the same dollars into non-military manufacturing, into infrastructure, green energy, education, and you produce more jobs and better paying jobs and have a broader impact on the economy. So while it's true that there are people getting jobs, making weapons and working for the military and the whole complex, there would be more jobs putting those same dollars into just about anywhere else. And in fact, if done right, tax cuts for working people would produce more jobs. So it's actually worse than nothing. So there's quite a bit of deception here.
But David, my friend, I mean, that would take foresight and planning by our elected leaders, and I'm not sure that we should really be holding our breath for that. But, you know, for example, this morning I was leafing through the paper and I saw this headline: defense cuts hit nearly 1,000 workers in the D.C. region. And so we have General Dynamics, Northrop Grumman, Lockheed Martin, all these huge firms that had to lay off workers because of the announced, what was it, $150 billion in defense spending cuts. So when a politician, when an elected lawmaker sees this kind of thing and they say, hey, if I cut military spending, my constituents are going to be out of work, how is that going to allow them to ever consider changing the system?
Well, there haven't been any defense spending cuts. There haven't even been any military spending cuts, as of course most of this has nothing to do with defense. And these people who are proud to go to work on whatever wars the U.S. government might approve of have to understand that much of what this industry they're getting a job in does is provide weapons to foreign dictators. They have to be happy to be providing the weapons to countries we will be fighting future wars against. We are the big armor of the world. And these cuts that get talked about, including in State of the Union addresses, are cuts to dream future budgets. They're not actual cuts. The military spending in this country has gone up in my town in Charlottesville and across the country year after year after year. And while there may be some cuts happening in some location, those same big employers you named there's been a full-page color ad every day this week in the Charlottesville Daily Progress of another job fair.
Well, I don't disagree with you that their profits are up, but at the end of the day, these dream cuts obviously have real implications, at least for these 1,000 guys. So, I mean, is this a ploy by the contractors to scare lawmakers out of dream defense cuts or real defense cuts?
Wouldn't surprise me, but I have no idea, so I shouldn't say. But in the broad picture of across the country, there are not any cuts happening. There are cuts being talked about. We might see cuts in the coming years, but we haven't seen any yet. And when we do, those same people could be given jobs. And in fact, where we're not cutting, and we ought to be cutting, we could cut 85% of this machine and still have the world's biggest military. We don't need to throw people out of work. We need to convert. We need to convert these industries to peaceful industries. A factory that makes weapons could make trains, could make solar panels. There's no reason we can't do better economically and otherwise.
All of things which we arguably desperately need as a country, but you know, if you look at the actual individuals, for example, some of these folks that were applying for jobs in Charlottesville that you yourself have talked about, I mean, these are decisions that they're making for their families as individuals. I mean, you're a family guy. If you had to choose between unemployment and feeding a family or the moral ugliness of working for a contractor, what would you choose?
I would find some other way to feed myself and my family, no matter what it was, than going to work for a machine that is dedicated to killing people in huge numbers in illegal wars, and again, to providing huge supplies of weapons to brutal dictators around the world, some of whom we later switch sides and turn against and have a war with, others of whom we have to arm against their neighbors whom we've armed. It is a policy that is going to destroy us all and our own children's children if we don't wise up.
Well, serious issues you've brought up here, David, and I really do want to thank you for calling these issues to light. Always appreciate your time. That was David Swanson, author of War is a Lie.